What is your view on the current conflict in Israel?
Well, I'm obviously, I'm devastated. I'm devastated for three reasons. First of all, I'm devastated that what happened on October the 7th could actually happen in the 21st century. It just seems on. We said so many times, never again, but to see the slaughter of well over 1,000 people in the most barbaric ways, I just couldn't believe that it is happening. And the suffering that brought to not just for the families of those people, but to the whole of our people. That's the first reason. I mean, I'm absolutely convinced that Israel had to go and destroy Hamas as much as they could, because we tend to forget that there's been thousands of rockets fired on Israel, day after day for years. But then at the same time, one can also feel so sorry for the innocent Palestinian people. It's not the war they made, it's not the wickedness they made, it's Hamas. And therefore, that's the third reason that one should feel devastated by it. But then there's a third or fourth reason, and that is the outbreak of anti-Semitism in Britain and around the world, in America. Is just... It's frightening for the future of the Jewish people, but the future of, I think, of Western society.
Do Jewish people in England feel in danger?
Yeah.
Are they scared to go out?
Many people are. Although, in a way, our synagogue services have increased numbers in the last month, because people want some comfort, or they wanted to be there. But for instance, the Jewish schools in London, the children were told not to wear the school uniform coming to school because it had a Jewish symbol on their badge. I'm wearing a kippah, a skull cap. You think twice about doing it in the street in London now. My grandson is at university and he's doing his master's, was going in to give a lecture to new students, and he had to walk down a corridor in which there were quite violent Palestinian demonstrators or pro-Palestinian demonstrators either side, and he had to walk through. He never thought, that would happen in his lifetime. So it's very concerning. It's concerning, I think, for non-Jewish. Somehow or other, this is spilling over to be against Judeo-Christian values in the country as well. I think that we're seeing calls by some of these extremists for Sharia law to be implied, that this country is degenerate because it follows, with all of the things that is happening in our society, in the breakdown of families, in the sort of recognition of the rights of gay people and so on. It's time that we put a stop to that. Now, there are 4 million Muslims in England. It only takes 1% of the 4 million to be radical, and it seems that is the case. And I think we have cause for concern.
How do you see the future of Judaism in the West?
In
West or in England?
Well, two things happening, as a matter of fact. The mainstream Jewish community is losing members to the left and the right. To liberalism, we're growing as a community, but more and more people are going to the fundamentalist wing. So, at this time, more and more people are going for a fundamentalist definition of Judaism in lifestyle. And so with the way they dress, the way they think, the way they conduct their lives. And so...
What do you think is the reason that people are moving towards the fundamental side?
I think people want a certainty in their life. They're going for something in a confusing world in which values are changing all the time. I think there's comforting in fitting into a society in which the rules are set. For instance, as far as we're concerned, on the Sabbath, there's a whole range of traditional laws about what you can and you can't do. What we would say is that we can view the Sabbath and to fit into our particular lifestyle. Can I put my phone on the Sabbath? Well, they would say, no, you can't put your phone on Sabbath because that goes against the law, which goes back to the Bible. Well, can you drive a car on the Sabbath? No, you can't. Can you put an electric light on? No, you can't. And that's interpretation of sort of ancient laws, but at least you know where you are. And come that day, activity stops. And what you do during the day when you talk to each other, what you do during the day, you study, you pray, you be together, you go to synagogue. And in a society where you don't know where you are, it's sort of, you're on the go all the time, your phone is pinging and all the rest of it. Then to have one day in the week in which you know exactly what you're doing is, I think, comforting. But also, if you can, either you're brought up in that society or you can adopt that society, then you in terms of truth is concerned, you know exactly what the truth is, because there it's written down, or your rabbi will tell you what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. And I think many people find that comforting. And if you look within Christianity in Britain, the same applies. It is the more fundamentalist parts that are the only ones growing, and the sort of the middle of the road, more liberal wings are declining rapidly.